During this semester, I've learned a lot about reading instruction in general, and I've built this graphic organizer in hopes of synthesizing my learning. Up at the top, you'll notice the phrase personalized learning, which I think is something to always keep in mind, not only in reading instruction, but as educators as a whole, that our instruction is always going to evolve and balance and change based on our students' unique and personal needs. And so this graphic organizer is by no means the end-all be-all. And we should always keep that in mind. But in general, I'd say that balanced literacy is at the center of reading instruction. Balanced literacy describes a mixture of direct instruction, guided practice, collaborative learning, and independent reading and writing. And I mentioned both reading and writing because if you're like me, I always thought of literacy as just reading. I never considered the strong, deep connections between reading and writing. And so the writing process and the big five of reading are my main branches off of balanced literacy. Now we know the writing process of drafting, editing, revising, and publishing. It's important that our students have strong foundations in writing, and we can greatly affect that through the types of texts we have them read and through exposing them to authors which they can emulate, help them grow their vocabulary, and have them see the different structures of text so they can do that and model that themselves. The big five of reading include phonemic and phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Phonemic and phonological awareness, as well as phonics, are really the foundation of reading as a whole. We're talking about the manipulation of sounds. We're discussing the small units of sounds and eventually how students make those connections to the text on their paper. I noticed that it was important of me to make these game-like and also kinesthetic, using those tapping motions, using my body to find the rhythm between the different sounds in a word, going from phonics to phonemes and eventually the syllables. A lot of that physical movement was important when instructing my students. Then we have fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. The three I found most effectively through guided shared readings and IRAs. Fluency in particular helped students read with expression, and I use a lot of the echo readings. And in the independent read alouds, I modeled how much more interesting a story could become if we have fluency, if we can read with expression. And again, through the types of books we read, we can test our child's comprehension, their vocabulary, which will eventually support their writing process as a whole.